Hi, we're Chris and Kelly of the Married Gamers, and if you happen to be a time traveler, welcome. The year is 2014, and we're either from your future or your past.
I've been hung up on a dream where we get married in Memphis by the good Reverend Green. You in that hat, in a black dress, yeah, you know the one I mean. Yeah, let's get married in Memphis. How's next Halloween? 'Cause I'm just as scared as you, probably more. Believe it is true, unless you got something better to do, and I bet that you do.
Welcome to episode 323 of the Married Gamers, record on January 6, 2014. I think we've watched way too much timey-wimey stuff lately.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Doctor Who recently. But if you ever do encounter a time traveler, the most important thing you need to remember to say is the year.
Yes.
For some reason, that's always the last thing that comes up.
Yeah.
So if you encounter someone who speaks in a British accent and is hanging around a police box, they're probably going to want to know the year first.
Yeah, exactly. You know, or someone who looks confused, doesn't quite know where they're at, tell them what year it is. At least they'd be aware of that.
Or if they have a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
Or a hoverboard.
A hoverboard? How about hoverboard?
Well, whatever. And maybe driving a DeLorean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the things to be on the lookout for.
Yes. We are the Married Gamers. My name is Chris.
And I am Kelly.
And you're listening to episode 323, recorded on January 6th, 2014.
Yes.
And ahead on the show, we're going to do a short review of the Married Gamers for any noobs out there who may be listening to the Married Gamers for one of their first times. We're going to just do a short look back.
This way you don't have to go, okay, what episode is it they talk about how they started?
No, just a short review. And, we're actually, Wednesday, we're giving an hour-long talk to a local techie thing here in town called Frickin' Brilliant.
Frickin' Brilliant.
And so this is also practice for us to sort of finally hone our story into nice crunchy morsels, so to speak. So we're going to be talking about that, but we're also going to be taking a look towards 2014. What sort of games we're interested in, sort of changes coming down the road, and talk a little bit also about some community engagement type things for the Married Gamers community as well.
Yes.
All right, but first, we have our opening question.
As always.
All right, so Kelly, here's the question. We were guests on the 40cast.
Yes, we were.
Which is now available. I can't remember, I think it was 186, 176.
I think it was 100.
Well, the most recent episode of the 40cast. A lot of fun. Love those guys. I've been very vocal about that. So go out and listen to that. But for our opening question, the question is, if you could be on another podcast, either as a guest or a new co-host, what podcast would it be?
For me, it's a no-brainer. It'd be Some Other Castle. Those ladies constantly are causing me to roll in the aisles. Although I don't listen to them in the grocery store. But, they have this way of witty banter. And it's interesting because I talk to Elaine on a fairly regular basis via G-Chat, and we're constantly saying to each other, man, we need to get on each other's podcasts and chat, and we do an Estrocast, which is maybe every 6 months, every once a year, and she's on that show. She and I have a blast talking to each other. We have a blast when we have her on our podcast. Yeah, I would have to say Some Other Castle. She helps elevate my smartiness. They help me elevate my smartiness. Yeah, both those ladies. They're highly intelligent in their conversation, yet extremely
especially when they
witty.
talk about sandwiches.
Yeah, well, and baby versus hobo.
Yeah.
But anyways, you know what I'm talking about. What about you, hun?
I would want to be on a podcast that isn't all about just like video games and stuff like that. I love the shows that we listen to, but whether it be something local like our friends over at Dorktown, but they have something special there. I wouldn't want to like interrupt that,
Right.
So other than just maybe guesting over there. But there's so many interests, from politics to music. I would love to be a guest on the Section Zcast again. I love talking about music. Maybe our friends over at Tales from the Crate, where they talk about what's happening in music and talk about vinyl records and whatnot. That'd be a lot of fun. Politics, I really don't listen to a lot of politics on my podcast, but it's something I'm really interested in. So maybe something of that vein, I would hate to like break up any podcasts like a special Zen that they have going on, but so maybe go guest host again on Dorktown or maybe check out some of these other shows like what's the show I was just thinking of? Oh, and of course, every podcaster's dream, to be a regular on what's his name?
Good old what's his name?
Oh, we interviewed him. Remember?
Chris Hardwick.
Yeah, Chris Hardwick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. If we're gonna dream big.
Yeah, that's true. Although I don't know if I want to be on Chris Hardwick's show because he's like, it would be hard to like have your voice heard over his because everyone's there to listen to him,
right.
Not you. So you have to aim a little bit lower so your voice is heard over them.
So you would be talking like this?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Chris,
my voice would be a little bit lower.
Can you please let David Tennant speak some more?
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. So I just want to say we're always looking for questions from our community. If you have a question for our opening questions, send it to us at marriedgamers@outlook.com. And Kelly is going to tell you where else the Married Gamers can be found.
You can find us obviously at our homepage, which is www.themarriedgamers.net. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Married Gamers, or follow us on Twitter at The Married Gamers, or I'm sorry, at Married Gamers. Drop the.
Yeah.
Drop the.
Put down that the.
Throw the away.
All right. And, of course, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Tioga Sequoia. We are not drinking Tioga Sequoia this evening.
I'm drinking water.
You're drinking water. I should be drinking water. You can tell by my voice.
Yeah,
so it's been strained for a while. I don't understand. It's the dry weather.
It's the dry weather. It's because we have the East Coast is getting and the Midwest is getting pounded with like rain and freezing snow and whatnot, and the West Coast, the drought is going to hit us hard this year. Yeah,
so it's really been affecting my throat.
Yeah, that's why I'm drinking water.
So, but we still like to thank our sponsors, Tioga Sequoia. They provide us with a lot of our beer. Tonight I'm actually, I got some beer for Christmas for my sister. And so I dug into something a little bit lighter. And I have to be honest, I'm not a big lager fan of beers. But in her package in her gift to me, was several different craft beers. And I'm drinking Kona Brewing Company's Longboard Island Lager.
How do you like it? Would I like it?
maybe, yeah, it's a little, it has a little more, obviously more taste than other beers, and than the big guys and stuff, but still is that sort of American lager type taste to it,
Right.
It's the closest thing you would probably know to compare to is Toga Sequoia's 99.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to our Week in Geek.
Yes.
Kelly, step up to the plate.
I haven't been playing a lot, which is kind of sad because we kind of had a lot of time off where we could have played a lot of games, but I did do a little bit of time travel in my Animal Crossing.
Oh, you mean cheating?
No, time travel. I did not spend New Year's Eve with my animals in Animal Crossing, so I went back in time and celebrated the New Year's with them, and you get sparkling cider and hats. Like, I doubt that they're worth anything, but it was just kind of a dorky little thing to do, I thought I'd get something more than that, but apparently you don't. So yeah, there was that. I've played all of about 15 minutes of Max Curse of Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm. The game you were so excited to have downloaded, you talked about on the 40cast.
Yeah.
And you still haven't played
that much of it?
No,
I just haven't had the time because after I downloaded it, then this past weekend, we just have been on the go almost constantly.
And
Saturday.
You've had a migraine.
And I had a migraine too. Saturday we went, and we saw the Arsenal game, in which one of the main players, I saw you posted up on your,
Theo,
yeah.
Hurt
did
himself.
Something pretty bad.
Yeah, he's out for this season in the World Cup too.
Yeah. What is it
he's
that
a Brazilian
did?
player. I don't know. It's something about his shin.
Or something like that. Yeah. But,
I don't know.
But it was interesting. I'm not a huge soccer fan, but, one of our local pub here in town, the Arsenal Gooner, well, they're called Gooners, get together.
The Fresno Gooners.
The Fresno Gooners get together and, watch it. And they had a huge turnout.
Oh yeah.
And,
it was packed at 9:00 in the morning.
Yeah. And, had breakfast there and just had a blast watching the soccer game. And then we went and had lunch later on that afternoon with a friend of ours. And then that evening we ended up watching the final, David Tennant episode of Doctor Who. And Matt Smith is now, that was my first episode with Matt Smith in it. So.
Yes. So
except for the 50th anniversary.
To season 5, so.
Yeah, except for the 50th anniversary episode.
Right.
So.
Yes, and I should add, since I had it down to my Week in Geek and you've stolen it and have talked about it already.
No.
I should mention I'm a huge Liverpool fan, and so Liverpool and Arsenal have this big history, but these folks from the Fresno Gooners have been so nice and polite, and even though in certain games I've been rooting against Arsenal.
Right.
This last one they were playing Tottenham Spurs, so I was actually rooting for Arsenal this time. Mm-hmm. They've been very pleasant. So in February, I think February 8th or so like that, Liverpool is playing Arsenal. So that'll be interesting. That will be trying.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to.
Yeah. So yeah. Anything else, Hen?
To see. And then I have been trying to finish up. I am down to, I think, the last 5 episodes of Rescue Me. Of the entire series. And I've been watching them as I was battling with my migraine, and then also as I go to bed at night. And so it's one of those where, okay, I think this is where I was at. Oh, no, gotta go back a little bit farther. So slowly watching it. I watched a couple of episodes today, trying to finish it out just because there's a few other television series that are of geekiness that you have no interest in, or I don't think you have an interest in, that I need to double check with you before I watch them. Because if you have an interest in watching them, then I want to watch them with you.
Okay.
So,
All right, my turn.
did I put you to sleep?
No, you have this drawing something out for a long time.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right. So I've been playing some games. I've been Toys R Us. I don't know if it's still on sale, but Toys R Us had a really good price on Skylanders Swap Force. You can get the starter packs for $60 versus $80. And I wanted to get a Xbox One. Actually, I was either going to get the PS4 or Xbox One version of that game. But because that's a game that you'll play as well, I got the Xbox One version.
Right.
And I've been playing that, and which always sort of means we had to acquire more of the figures.
Mm-hmm. And now you said there's still one more that we need to get?
Yeah. And they made it... These guys are smart, when they really want you to spend money. Because now with Swap Force, okay, it used to be like you wanted to have figures that, one of earth and one of water and one of air and one of, mountains and they had so many different divisions that these characters were from. Now with Swap Force, you also have to they have special abilities as well. So like one's a digger, one's a spring jumper, one's, yeah. And those are only on the Swap Force ones, which of course are more expensive to buy. And then on top of that, you have to have, on different, because the Swap Force, the thing is, they have a base and then a top, and they can remove and be placed upon another to make crazy combinations. So there's also gates that you can only get through if you have these certain combinations. So you might have to have like an air top and a spring bottom, or and so after a while you're like, yeah, this can get expensive. These people are smart. It's no wonder why Skylanders makes more money for Activision than Call of Duty does. It's yeah. But the gameplay, this is still, great gameplay that we found in other Skylanders. This is actually made by Vicarious Visions, who in the past have done Guitar Hero. And instead of Toys for Bob, who were the first studio to do Skylanders. And I don't know if they're, this being Activision, you're pretty much guaranteed there's going to be a new Skylanders each and every year, just like they did with Call of Duty and other products. So I wonder if they're going to have the studios, 1 year it'll be Toys for Bob, the next year it'll be Vicarious Visions, that sort of thing. But I'm enjoying my experience with Skylanders Swap Force. And and on top of that, you still have to use there's also things that you can only use Giants from, Giants was last year's game, 2012's game. Okay. And so if you haven't, had that before, then you have to go out and buy some Giants. So, yeah, they're getting you, but it's a lot of fun.
They know how to get you.
It's a lot of fun, and if folks out there have kids, they probably already know about Skylanders. But this is definitely a game you can play with them and have a lot of fun. This is sort of like kids Diablo meets a platformer. So yeah. On the PS4, I am playing Zen Pinball 2, which just recently came out from Zen Studios. Not a lot to say here. If you like pinball games, these aren't recreation of classic pinball games. These are all new boards. So if you're looking for, a classic game, you might want to go with one of the other pinball, games out there. But in video game pinball, Zen Pinball is for me the gold standard. I like the way the ball moves around on the tables. I really like a lot of the tables, especially, I love the themed tables, which has been really, really successful for them, whether it be Star Wars or Plants vs. Zombies or the Marvel superhero tables. Well, if you played Zen Pinball on the Vita or on PS3, those tables will transfer to the PS4 under Zen Pinball 2. It's a bit tricky on how to do it. It took me a while to sort of figure things out. But once it works, it works. However, if you buy tables on the PS4, if you're like, you buy Star Wars Balance of the Force tables on the PS4, you cannot transfer them to the PS3 or the Vita. And I haven't tried it yet. I don't know if there's remote play with the Zen Pinball 2. I'll check that out.
Are there any tables that are only on the PS4 that aren't on any other, like they're exclusive to the PS4?
So far, they're all ones I've seen before, but they look, they're much nicer in, in great 1080p and, they look beautiful. However, I have a feeling that there will be new tables.
Right.
As they move forward with the product, but for now, this is, it's just there to continue the fun you've had with the Zen Pinball series. But I do look forward to more. They've hinted from time to time that more are coming, especially some of these themed tables. So yeah, I love pinball. The Zen series on Xbox. It was called Pinball FX2. No word yet if Zen is also bringing their pinball game to the Xbox One yet. So, don't know on that. But I'm having a lot of fun with that. And other than that, I've been reading I've been really marathoning reading Game of Thrones.
Yeah, so much so that I don't get snuggle time from you.
Yes, true.
I get... I'm reading Game of Thrones.
Well, I was getting some good parts. I finished book 3, so let me finish.
Okay.
So for those of you watching the HBO show, the current season that just ended, with the Red Wedding and all that, that's half of book 3. So, now I've been in unexplored territory for me. So I'm like, you're a big fan of the HBO series. You have never read the books. And so now my head contains knowledge that you do not know.
Unless I read really fast.
So now I'm being very careful not to spoil things, and so I cannot wait for this next season because you're in for a treat.
I mean, I tried to hold you yesterday and I got cock-blocked by Jon Snow.
What?
Yesterday, I was trying to hold you, and you went, oh, but Jon Snow. I'm reading about Jon Snow,
yeah,
and I said, but I want to, and I was trying to, and I said, and I said, but Jon Snow has his own wife, and you're like, no, he's a crow. They don't marry. And I said, yeah, but he's got that woman that he's with, and he's like, yeah, well, they're just fuck buddies. They don't really
bring out the language tonight, are you?
They don't really get married. And you're like, yeah, well, and then you turned over, you're like, and you turned back to me, pointed to your Kindle Fire, and you're like, Jon Snow, and you kept reading.
Whatever.
Didn't even get a snuggle because you're Jon Snowy.
I think you've embellished that just a bit.
No, I wanted to hold you, and you were Jon Snow.
Whatever. Okay, so yeah, I've finished book 3. I'm into book 4, which is interesting so far. I'm not too far into it, but enjoying the journey. Let's see here. Television, Archer. I've been watching Archer. The new season starts this week. I love Archer. Archer is one of those shows I can watch again and again.
Why are you watching it without me?
Well, I'm gonna watch it again, so that's not really a problem for me to rewatch some of these things. So yeah, I'm enjoying Archer quite a bit. 49ers. Green Bay versus the Niners, and Niners won with the help of some beautiful last-minute drives and the foot of their kicker, and it was good. We're gonna play Carolina Panthers next, and that will be a very, very good game as well, and hopefully not as cold as Lambeau Field was, but so yeah, I'm excited. So The Niners have, let's see, 1, 2, 3 more games before they're Super Bowl champions. So, my fingers are crossed. They still have to, if they make it past the Panthers, they're going to have to probably take on the Seahawks. So that will be interesting. All right. So, and you mentioned the Arsenal game. We also watched the UFC fight. We haven't mentioned that, have we?
Yes, we did watch the UFC fight. I actually enjoyed watching the UFC.
You actually said, I want to watch that fight. So,
yes, I did.
So I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess we will order this $60 UFC fight.
Because I wanted to see the Tate,
not Taint.
it's a Tate.
Tate Rousey.
Tate
yes.
fight.
Yes, and that was really, really good.
It was really good.
And then we saw that really, really ugly fight afterwards.
Yeah, and
the guy broke his shin.
The thing is I heard the crack, and you didn't hear. I don't think you even realized.
I couldn't watch the replays.
Crack. You couldn't watch. You were like,
I saw it happen. I was like,
no,
that's not supposed to work that way.
But you didn't hear the crack or recognize the crack.
I did. But yeah, that was just not pretty at all.
No.
And Silva. So yeah, but that whole evening, great fight after great fight.
Yeah, Silva's out, I think, for the rest of his career.
Yeah, I think his career's over, man.
Yeah.
So that's the Week in Geek. Let's get on to our topics. We're going to talk about us. So the Married Gamers. We may have some new listeners, this being the new year, and we've been on a few shows, so people may be listening to us for the first time. So we wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about our history, and then we'll dive into our future with 2014. So, Callie, how did we get started? What was our origin story?
What was our... It sounds like we're a video game of the origin story.
Superhero. We're superheroes.
Origin
podcasting.
Story.
No, seriously. Why did we start the Married Gamers podcast?
This is 2000. So 2007.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really weird looking at 2014. In 2007, there was a breakdown in communication that was going on within our marriage. Mm-hmm. And there was some stuff that was not being communicated as to what was being wanted from both of us in our marriage. And there was some infidelity that was happening on my side of the marriage. And we had, as you kind of call it, a come to Jesus moment.
Yeah, sort of the dark night of the soul.
Yeah, and
I found out about some stuff, and
we had to make the decision if we were going to separate and kind of have a trial separation, or if we were going to try to stick it out together with each other. We had for probably, I want to say 3 to 6 months, been listening to podcasts together. Achievement Junkies being one of those. Drunken Gamers Radio. I think they were Team Fremont Live at that time.
Team Fremont Live.
And a couple of other podcasts, but those were the two main podcasts that we were listening to at that time.
Yeah, Major Nelson.
Major Nelson. You said, a podcast might be a way for us to start talking with each other. Neither one of us are major proponents. We've gone through counseling before for other things, but we wanted to try kind of an unconventional way of our own type of counseling, marriage counseling, I guess, if you want to say. And so we kind of reached out to the people at Achievement Junkies, Nelson and Natalie, mm-hmm. and asked them, we happened to have to go up to the Bay Area, and asked them how did they make their show a go. And they gave us some advice as to how to do a podcast. And we realized that in order for us to make a podcast go, we only have one car. and have only had one car for the entire time that we've been together. As it stands right now, it's almost been 21 years that we've been together, so that we've had one car. Mm-hmm. So, you know, drive to work, we're in one car. Drive home, we're in one car. And so, but obviously that was not enough communication for the two of us. So we had to set aside time to communicate with each other. So we came up with show notes, which we still use to this day. And but to do those show notes, we decided that we were going to have a date night with each other. And for some reason or another, I can't remember why it became Wednesday nights was our quote unquote date night. I think it happened because it was comic book.
Yeah, so we go out and comics,
go out get comics and go get dinner. And we sat down and talk to each other about what did we want to talk about on that week's podcast and why did we want to talk about that topic and how was the show going to be formulated. Now, if you go back and listen to the first, I would say probably the first 10 to 15 shows, you will realize how extremely scripted they are.
Yeah. Because
they were extremely scripted. We were still getting to know each other, getting to feel out, how to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Getting to know each other again as husband and wife, really. And we're at a point now where, a lot of times when it comes down to podcasting, I would say probably 90% of the time you put together the show notes. And that's just because that's just the way it is. About it. We talk about them.
We learn like what, after doing this for so long, some of it just goes without saying. We know, certain sections, the Week in Geek and opening questions stuff. But we'll field things from one another, sort of feel like how we're feeling on a topic.
Right.
And it's hard sometimes because, being a topical show.
Oh, yeah.
If we were a news driven show, it'd be much easier, because whatever we just see on the Mary Gamers website or on Polygon or
Kotaku,
F those guys, but other sites,
right? Or on CNN or whatever.
We just talk about that latest news and riff on it, but because we're more topical and sometimes even more relationship-y, a word I invented a long time ago.
Yeah, you've never invented that a long time ago.
It can be harder, especially after 6 years. You don't know how many times like we've come up with we're gonna do the New Year's resolutions show. It's like, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
Let's
or we come up with the topic where I've come to you and I'm like, I got an idea.
Instead we're talking about our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Or I've come up to you and I said, hey, let's talk about, and you're like, honey, we did that show like 2 years ago.
That's right.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Huh?
Although I will say, I did like some of these shows that you were in charge of, in which we looked back at some of our earlier shows and sort of took a look back to see if we still hold those same beliefs or positions.
Yeah.
Those were actually pretty darn good shows.
I think it'd be fun, and maybe we'll do this in 2014. Go back to like some of our earlier shows and have those same guests on again and talk about those same topics and see, do you still hold those same truths to be evident? I just think that'd be interesting. But anyways, that's totally getting off topic here. But anyways.
Now I want you to reach out to Kid Dog and what's his
Taz?
name?
Taz,
to see if we can get those two together.
Let's see if we can get them all again. Yeah, we should.
Even though they're doing completely different things now.
Yeah, exactly. That's how we got started.
I'll jump in here and say that this is a learning process. The first question is like, how the heck do I do a podcast?
Right.
And it's really not as hard as you think. There's a bit of work setting up, like the feed and whatnot.
Know that better than I do.
What microphones do I use and stuff like that.
I don't know.
And I'll say we've been basically using, although our choices in microphones have changed.
Right.
We've basically been using XLR mics that feed into a I forget the brand, but feed into a mixer. And from that mixer, we goes out from into was it RCA cables, which feed into the computer via USB. Now, right now, I'm just using a generic microphone because the one that we had been using, one of mine went bad, and so it was creating some distortion and buzz every time I spoke. This isn't the greatest microphone, but they're cheap microphone. We got like 2 for $40. These are just standard vocal microphones. Catches a lot of sound and stuff like that. I got a new microphone coming. Can't wait to use it.
Oh, cool.
But right now you're using $80 MXL microphone and works
That's
good.
What I have.
Gives you good tone, and my only complaint about that is it's very omnidirectional as well, so it picks up a lot of sound from behind it. In addition to yeah. So there's a lot of that, but so yeah, that's basically what we've been doing for that's our basic setup, and we have when we're out in the field, when we're out at conventions and stuff, we have a different setup. We have some portable stuff, but you
have to be different out in the field.
Yeah. So our equipment, have changed, especially when it comes out in the field. That's become much lighter and much more portable, which is a delight. But in terms of what you mentioned, listening to one another, planning, getting familiar with one another, learning, we have the benefits of sitting right across from each other. So a lot of times this is easy. Now we do have a lot of guests on our show, because we like a lot of people and like listening to them and the exciting stuff that they're talking about. And that becomes a little more difficult because then we can't see them. I have the benefit of looking at you and talking with you, catching different like mannerisms, whether it be you flipping me off or
all the time,
or me rolling my eyes,
all the time.
But and it works. We work well off each other, so to speak. So we've gotten better at that. We've much more natural. To the point like we used to be squeaky clean, no swearing at all. Now it's like we are who we are, and if you don't like us, if you only want a squeaky clean podcast, there's a lot you can listen to and a lot of great ones I can recommend. But we are who we are,
Right.
And I think that's opened us up and made us even better, more comfortable with each other and to our audience as well. So I think we've gotten better, and we're still getting better. Lord knows I need to cut down on my and all that crap.
I think that we
trying.
both probably need to
Yes.
cut down on those types of things.
Yes, and can I become a better editor? I use Audacity. There's all of that. Of course I can. So, but this is still a lot of fun. We're still having a lot of fun here. We're now going into our 7th year now, and a lot of time, a lot of history. So one thing I want to talk about, so we've been running the Married Gamers. We're not just a podcast, we're a website as well, and we're a community as well. So we have a lot of great stuff on our website. We are a business. We have a business license. And during this time, we're still in the process of trying to learn how to make money from this, which, last year 2013 wasn't a horrible year for us, but it's nowhere near like, hey, don't worry about finding a job. This is what you're doing.
You're right.
Nothing like that.
No, not at all.
That I've never heard of anyone other than someone who's already was a celebrity being able to do that.
Right.
Chris Hardwick's a good example of that.
Right.
And he works hard at it. So one thing during that 6+ years, we played, we're a video game podcast, that we have leeway to talk about other stuff here on the podcast and stuff, and that's cool. But during that 6 years, we've played a lot of good games, a lot of bad games. But I wanted to talk about some of those key games in our 6-year history that are a vital part of us, the married gamers, Chris and Kelly. So, Kelly, did you want to start with? We'll just do a little bit
with favorite games of the past 6 years. Let me see here. I think everybody who listens to us knows what my favorite game has been.
Boogie Bunnies?
Boogie Bunnies.
Which you still have not finished.
No, I have not. And now we've moved to the next generation console, so will I ever finish it?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Loser. Loser. I'm joking. Joking.
Really?
I'm going to get flipped up here.
Really?
Okay, so Rainbow Six.
Rainbow Six, the whole series. Black Arrow, starting with Black Arrow.
Yeah, but that was before the Married Gamers. Just before the Married Gamers.
Just before the Married Gamers. But we went back there and
but we
played
did Vegas,
that.
Vegas 2. We did Rainbow Six Vegas 2.
But we went back and played it because we would play with, we would do our little jaunty game that you, because it's still, but we couldn't do the glitch on the new console, could we? We had to go back to the original Xbox to do the glitch.
I can't remember.
So
Vegas, Rainbow Six, oh, man, I wish they had their act together with the new one.
I know.
Patriots. I heard, rumor is they've had to go back
to scratch,
square one, and from that with that. But
probably 2016.
Rainbow Six was a big one. We lost a lot of our friends when Vegas came out because they started using a different game engine.
Yeah.
So a lot of people didn't like that.
And then a lot of them went to the Call of Duty.
Yeah, so a lot of people went to Call of Duty.
And then we just had no interest in the Call of Duty series.
Well, I play it, but
not to the extent that we did. With
that's all I play type
Black
player.
Arrow.
Obviously, I want to talk about one of the things I distinctly remember about the start of the Married Gamers is one of the big games that I was playing and I still love to this day. Shadowrun, and this was the Xbox version that a lot of people hated and stuff like that. You got to play a flying elf with a katana. It was fun. I had a blast. It's one of those games I wish. I'm glad that people that the quote unquote true version of Shadowrun is being developed, or we're seeing come back more. Like the Shadowrun Returns game, but that game, while broken, still holds a very, very special place in my heart. And to this day, I will say that I love that game. Another game, you want to mention it? This is the huge game for us. The game that really did a lot to bring us together.
Rock Band.
Rock Band. Tell me why Rock Band, Kelly. Tell me why Rock Band is so important.
Our 10th anniversary, we almost died. So then we started playing Rock Band for our anniversaries instead. Mm-hmm. But
it brings us together.
It brought us together. We played.
You always
crazy.
played bass.
I've played bass and probably will always play bass.
And I would either play guitar or I would sing.
Or sing, yeah.
And there was just something about doing that together. And we would play in different rooms sometimes and stuff like that. But that it really did a lot to just having us jam out together. We both love music, and Rock Band was always for us. Was a music discovery. And, oh gosh, I hope one day it comes to next gen. I really doubt we'll be able to bring our database of songs over, but man, that series just means so much to our relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about Rock Band? You said, you look like you were going to say something.
No, just that, like you say, it brought us together and...
Yeah, I would say that was probably the biggest. Rainbow Six was big for you and I, but Rock Band, without a doubt, was the biggest game for the both of us.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was the biggest game for us. Dance Central.
Yeah, that's one of the big games for you.
And what did you end up calling it in the middle of a big old conversation?
Well, on a panel that we were doing?
Yeah, the panel that we were on.
I called it the Digital Viagra.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, for obvious reasons, seeing you dance, wearing very little, and yeah.
It's hot here in Fresno.
Oh, yes. One of the few times I'm glad that it's hot when you're doing that.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you're very happy. And so, but then there's a game that I played that I don't know if you played any of it. Did you play Bayonetta at all?
I played, I didn't finish it though.
Okay. But Bayonetta is one that I have played. Gosh, I think I'm just now starting my 4th playthrough of Bayonetta.
Wow.
So, I mean,
Yeah. Okay. I have to say, obviously, if I don't mention Left 4 Dead 2,
yeah, if you don't
And-
mention that one, something's wrong.
huge, both Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. But I have to admit, the addition of a katana,
Yeah, you and your
a
katanas.
chainsaw, those type of things. Adding that to in Left 4 Dead 2 really made that game so like. There's a reason why I played that game nearly every night for 2+ years. There's something about the game I could just play over and over and over and over again. And it didn't get very much DLC, and I played it on the Xbox 360 versus, the PC. So I didn't get the benefit of player created maps a lot of times. But I still, I hang out with friends. I'm playing Left 4 Dead 2. That was my jam.
There was Left 4 Dead Sexy Talk.
Yes, we said a lot of things. We got really, really comfortable.
I still wish that you guys could have streamed that.
Yeah. Oh, and I also want to mention GTA 4. 5. A lot of hangout time in there, and I do enjoy that. I need to jump back there to spend some more time with my little circle of friends on there.
With your homies.
But GTA 4 to me is really important because it reminds me how much we were connected with our community. We played a lot of Halo, 3 and ODST and all that sort of stuff with our community, and we're going to continue that. More about that in a little bit. But GTA 4, that was a lot of fun to play with our community, just goofing around in Liberty City, also being informed, having, what was his name? Charlie.
I can't think of his gamer tag right now. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but we had a community member who would give helicopter rides in Liberty City and do like comparisons with real world,
New York
area, New York and stuff. And to this day, that still fascinates me.
Oh, I know.
And we even did this thing where I hid in Liberty City, and offered up, so people could, they had an hour to find me, and the first person to find me got like a $1,600 Microsoft points, card. That was a lot of fun. I would love to be able to do something like that in GTA 5. And I got to figure out how to, I wish they would give us the ability to turn off like knowing where people are on the map. If they give us that ability, then we're probably going to do something like that, for our married gamers community. But yeah, GTA 4, it means so much, with our community, but I have to say Halo 3 though, that we've had so many game nights on Halo 3 and, so many great, player created games on that. And, oh yeah, I really want to get back to that quite a bit here in 2014.
Yeah.
So any other games?
Nothing else I can think of that we played a lot. We played Gears.
Yeah.
We played with
Yeah, but that was never as
Gears.
huge as any of the other game personally, but, yeah. All right. So, let's talk about what we have now, in terms of consoles and select platforms and stuff. So we're trying to get reconnected with game nights for the married gamers. So these are the various platforms that we're going to try to have game nights on that we actually do have. We both have, Kelly and I have 3DSs, so I'm sure we're going to be opening gates in Animal Farm and when things like that go on where, games come out in which there's multiplayer and stuff like that, we'll probably be doing that as well. Obviously, if you have listened to us, you know that we both have Xbox Ones. And so we plan on doing game nights on the Xbox One very, very shortly, too, So we'll be doing that on there. I have a Vita, so maybe we'll do something there. I also have a PS4, so you can count on doing games over there with our Sony brethren as well. And we have a gaming laptop. So we'll be doing games via Steam and whatnot, and Origin and things like that. Of which, we're going to have games in which we can do multiplayer with other, with our communities as well. And we're really wanting in 2014 to begin a process in which we can have our community out there. We want to create safe places. We've heard story after story of people being harassed, whether being on their gender, on their age, on their ability, on their race, all that sort of stuff. And we want to create safe places to just have fun playing games. I mean, after all, that's what it's all about. And so we really want to encourage our community to communicate with us, and sort of step it up. If you guys are playing with other people and you guys want to open up your room to other married gamers community folks, we want to be facilitators. We want to encourage that, and we want to hook you guys up with other fun-minded, non-threatening gamers out there. So right now, one of the principal spots to do that is our Facebook fan page.
Yes.
That's facebook.com/The Married Gamers. And so if you are planning on opening up Halo 4 and you want to just have fun with a bunch of people, bring it up on the Facebook fan page. We're discussing behind the scenes on other ways we can make things easier, like a calendar or something like that. Mm-hmm. And when we get that sort of stuff locked down, we'll announce it and publicize it. And so hopefully, no matter what you're playing on, there will be community or staff at the Married Gamers to be able to play with you guys too. And we hope to also stream some of that on our official Twitch, official Married Gamers on twitch.tv, and do some growing there or on YouTube or whatnot. So 2014 is a year we really want to turn to our community and get your feedback, get your interaction. We want to, I've talked recently about how the death of Hilden over at DGR affected me, and one of the things that did affect me very much is I really want to get back to like that tightness, that close, knit community we had with the Married Gamers listening and readers out there, listeners and readers out there. And so we're going to work on that. We want to get game nights, no matter what you have. We're going to have folks who want to play with you guys. So if you haven't become the Married Gamers or on fan over on Steam, we're over there. Just look for our new logo when you do a search for us. And of course, we're in other places that Kelly's gonna get to as well when we wrap up the show.
Yep.
So Kelly, any other things on how we want to sort of bring us closer to our community in 2014 you want to mention?
No, nothing that I can think of, but I do want to make sure that you understand as a community that it's important that you reach out to us.
Yes. Goes both ways.
We can reach out to you left and right as to what our ideas are, but we want to know from you what your ideas are, because we may have these grand schemes of what we think is going to work, but ultimately they don't work if you don't want to do them. Right. And so let us know what your ideas are. You can do that by sending us a message on our Facebook, through our Facebook fan page.
Or by emailing us.
You can do it by emailing us at marriedgamers@outlook.com. You can do it by sending us a message through our Twitter at marriedgamers. Mm-hmm. Communicate with us. If you don't think that the way we're doing it is the way that's going to work best for you, let us know. Lefty and I both have our Xbox 360 still. It's not,
I still have my PS3.
Chris still has his PS3. We're not, just because we're on Xbox One doesn't mean that we're going to abandon the 360 community completely. Yep. We're going to still come back onto the 360 and be with that community. So. Yes,
definitely. So 2014 is going to be a great year for the Married Gamers.
Yes.
And because we have the name games in it, let's talk really quickly. What games are you looking forward to in 2014, honey?
There's that one that I mentioned to you that's coming out on the PS4 that
the one that Don't Starve. Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually have that on the gaming laptop as well.
But tomorrow you can download it for free on your PS4 from me.
That's true.
And
That's
so I
true.
want you to download
You
that.
should also play Contrast. I could definitely
I should
use
also
more.
I have my own.
You have your own. Was it Mrs. Lefty Brown?
Mrs. Lefty Brown.
Also on.
Therefore, I'm sorry, you're not getting the achievements. I'm getting trophies. I'm getting them, Sir Brown.
The PS4's the Sony's all new to you again.
Yes. So I have to do that. Hey, so Contrast. That was a 2013 game.
Yes,
huh?
it was.
Man, what about Don't Starve? Is that considered 2014?
2013.
Man, you know.
Although the PS4 version is 2014.
Yeah. So see, because I want to get a game that's my 2014 first game to finish of the year.
Okay.
I just don't know what game it's going to be.
Well, yeah, that's a good one. Well, one of the huge, gigantic games I'm looking forward to comes out March 11th, and that's Titanfall. It's going to be on Xbox One, and mechs. This is from the people who gave us Call of Duty, who after they unceremoniously had to leave their company. They went to EA and started this company, and Titanfall's their first release. Really, really, really looking forward to that quite a bit. Then later that month, March is going to be such a good month. March 21st on the PS4, Infamous Second Son comes out, and I'm a huge the Infamous series.
There's two games before that I'm looking forward to.
Infamous 1 and Infamous 2. Wait, okay, well, hold on. I'll let you speak after I finish on Infamous.
Oh, I forgot. Man, speaks first. I'm just kidding.
I'm going to flip you off. So I think hands down, my favorite series on Sony is Infamous. I would say even more than Uncharted. I mean, I still haven't finished Uncharted 3, I love the Infamous series, and I'm so glad that everything I look at Infamous, this game is gorgeous, and it's going to play awesome, and it's going to be on a awesome console as well. So that's a big one. Kelly.
Yes.
What were you going to say?
I'm looking forward to February 25th.
Which is?
Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
Ooh, yes. I imagine that's probably going to be something we're going to have to buy 2 copies of.
Mm-hmm. Because, unless one of us ends up reviewing it, but I think we're going to have people on our staff fighting to review that too.
That's true as well.
But then also, February 25th, Thief comes out.
Yes, but I had to be honest, I've never played any of the other Thief games, and so it's sort of all new to me.
But it looks interesting. It's one of those that I'm like...
Yeah, but I don't know. It's sort of stealthy, and stealth games can be hit or miss,
Yeah. And
the last Splinter Cell I thought was terrific.
Yeah.
Sometimes stealth can be all right.
And then, and this one, you're going to be surprised I'm actually interested in this one.
What one?
It comes out May 20th.
Okay, well, what is it?
UFC.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That one does surprise me. Are you becoming a UFC fan? The whole countries one, Canada versus Australia, starts this week or next week.
What do you mean? The show?
The show.
We record it so we can watch it together?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Dying Light comes out in March as well.
Yes.
March is going to be a fantastic month for games. I had to eat my words about.
Can you get me the UFC game?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Are you surprised that I want
Yes,
it?
I am surprised.
Are you happy?
Yes. I'm also happy about Dying Light and another zombie game. And it looks great. Obviously, I'm going to jump ahead and say Destiny from Bungie. That is going to be mind-blowing. I think they're going to do some very, very interesting about sort of an expansive universe, and a universe that actually, in which players can actually communicate with other players using real things like their phones.
I can't wait for Wolfenstein.
That's hit or miss for me. Okay, so do you know when that is coming out?
It's still to be announced. I think
Elder Scrolls Online too.
Yeah.
You know, that may actually be another MMO that I may be interested in. I'm just tired of hearing every new MMO as being the Warcraft killer,
right?
Quote unquote. But this one definitely looks interesting, even though it's more MMO than less third-person game that Elder Scrolls devotees may be used to. Yeah, other than that, you know, there's some good ones. You know, South Park: The Stick of Truth is coming out this year. We got a Xbox One version of Rayman Legends coming out. You know, various stuff. It's going to be an interesting year, and we don't even know like what the unannounced stuff is coming out. You know, what gets announced as at E3 this year. You know, this is going to be the year we're going to see some big ones. You know, we know a Halo 4 or excuse me, a Halo 5 or whatever they officially call the next Halo game is coming out this year. We know we have games like Quantric. I forget the name of that game from Remedy for the Xbox One. You know, the Next Order. We got Watch Dogs coming out.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there's going to be a lot of great games, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some really good games, and those are only like the big blockbusters. We're not talking about like these indie games. You know, That Dragon Cancer is coming out this year. Mm-hmm. You know, there's going to be so many great unexpected games coming from indies. And this really is, you know, this industry is almost turning upside down, in which there's like the indie game developers are sort of pointing the way that you can have these small studios and be very, very successful. So that's another huge bit, you know, people, we cannot forget about that. You know, Octodad.
Yeah.
You know, there's some really, really good indie games coming out this year, whether you're on console or PC. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Or iOS or, you know, or tablets, you know. So, we should ask what community out there, what are you guys looking forward to? Let us know.
Yeah.
Email us again at marriedgamers@outlook.com. Let us know what game you guys cannot freaking wait. You know, what's going to be that game that pushes you over and get a PS4 or an Xbox One or a new or a gaming PC rig or a Steam machine? You know, what's going to be that?
I saw a Steam machine.
Oh, cool. Pictures or in person? Oh, okay.
No, Justin Cordith posted one that they got for his studio.
Nice. All right, so we want to hear from you now, Kelly.
Yes, sir.
It's that time of the show.
It's that time of the show.
Yep, take us out.
Okay. You can interact with our community on the website at www.themarriedgamers.net. Do I have to do this in our talk too? It's gonna be really weird.
Okay.
On Facebook at facebook.com/themarriedgamers. Twitter at Married Gamers. You can follow Lefty at Lefty Brown, myself at Mrs. Lefty Brown. Google Plus, it's plus the Married Gamers Plus. Net. Okay. Pinterest is Married Gamers. We're going to have game nights coming soon. Keep your eyes out on all of those various internets, and you'll find us.
All those various internets.
Yeah. There's more than one internet out there.
It's a series of tubes.
Yes. Email us at marriedgamers@outlook.com, please. We appreciate your mails.
Yes, we really do. And last but not least, we have a TMG podcast app. Now, Kelly, we need to get back on board the doing the bonus content. We usually do have bonus content for the show, but with the holidays, it's been really weird.
A whole one about the UFC fight.
maybe a little too late. We still need to watch Aliens 3 and
Yes.
Aliens Resurrection and Prometheus.
Yes.
So we're going to get back on board with that really, really soon here. But for $1.99, you're going to get access to all our podcasts and unique access to things like our Facebook and Twitter and website and on top of that, we'll also have bonus content for you to listen to that you can only get through the podcast app. It's available on just about every